Welcome back everybody to Ace Run Pro. This is the 2023 Portland Open presented by Latitude 64. This is the first ever Disc Golf Pro Tour Elite Plus event taking place here in Portland, Oregon. I am Connor O'Reilly, joined in the booth today by Holly Finley. What's up, Holly?
Super stoked to be back at Glendoveer. I've played the property a couple of times. We have a new design here on the West Course, but it's also our last day to play the West Course this week. Everyone who makes the cut will move on and they'll get to play the East Course on a final day Sunday. Let's take a look at the top 10 leaderboard. Kristen Tatar still in first, and after a crazy front nine, Juliana Korver has moved into second place.
What a display she has put on. Made a couple big putts to start and then just been playing chess with the course. Here we're on hole 10, the fifth hardest hole on the course today. Mandatory keeping the players to the right there in the middle, out of bounds line throughout on the right side. And this uphill approach through the tree trunks is really what makes this one a doozy. Low ceiling throughout as well.
Juliana up first after a turkey. Sends it low right, a bit turned over, and thanks to that thick grass, she is inbounds by a foot.
Scary, but actually going to open up her angle on that approach, so it could be a blessing in disguise.
Paige makes the Mando, but the disc hits low, short. The grass stops it. Still parable, possibly even birdieable from there with her type of power if she has a line.
Oh. Cat kicks left of that Mando. Doesn't look like she got past it yet, but she's going to have to waste a shot just getting around it. Birdie is gone for Cat Mertsch. A little low for Rebecca, but definitely still in birdie range. And Cat gonna have about 225 feet or 200 feet in for her par save.
Paige with a giant skip to the top of the hill. She'll have about a 75-foot look for a birdie.
Juliana taking the straight at it route and beats the tree trunks. We'll likely see her pitch up for par there. Rebecca looks like she has to go with that skipping outside route. See if she can put the speed on it.
She cuts inside and misses the grouping of trees. She'll have about a 50-foot putt.
Cat plays a nice turnover. It was a putter, you guys. Juliana knows she shorted it, but that's still almost in the guaranteed zone. Well, what am I saying? Nothing's guaranteed on the course. We know that. You got to earn every stroke and focus up no matter what.
Ooh, that was pretty.
Yeah, we didn't see as strong of a front nine putting wise from Rebecca as yesterday. She is looking to get it going here on the back.
Cat Mertsch makes good for her par here on the 10th.
Yeah, par was the best she could do after that drive found its way left like that.
Juliana makes her 15-foot par putt, as does Paige Pierce. Rebecca left with a shorty. No brainer this time.
I still feel like she went a little quick on that, like she was uneasy with it. Just
get it over real quick.
Take that breath, Rebecca.
Here we are on hole 11, 345-foot par 3 with another set of double Mando trees right off the tee. If these tight gaps make you nervous, you can just throw a shot to here, hyzer left, chip up into the green, and play the hole for par, which I've seen several FPO players do. I like to throw a shot at least to right here and hyzer left and get myself a circle putt. I've also seen players let their disc turn over a bit to the right and take a long putt at it. It's a very hard green to access. JK up first. She's hyzered out short and left, 50-foot putt.
Paige yanking it, asking for the back door, and seems to be getting it. Wow, I didn't know there was that much airspace over there. Finds herself parked. Apparently that's the biggest gap on this hole. Paige found it. And we get a Flight Factory run back on this park job. Probably the only time that route got parked all weekend.
Incredible. Mertsch finds the gap, left side, kicks a tree midway down.
Yeah, and almost like its counterpart in hole 8, she finds herself just a little bit early out of the hand there.
Rebecca Cox hits the gap nicely. Unfortunately, hits a tree halfway down, and she kicks left as well.
Hole 9 was the hole I was talking about, actually. The other tunnel shot.
Mertsch with a forehand chip, just missed the koozie. She'll have a 15-foot par putt.
Rebecca looking to give this one a little bit of a spike angle and catches a tree. She's going to have to go to a straddle putt there.
Ooh, JK with a long stepper. No connection for that birdie attempt. And Rebecca unable to save par here on the 11th.
Cat, however, makes good on her par after nearly ringing up a throw-in.
Rebecca slams that one in.
Paige with the improbable birdie.
Yeah, that was probably the best shot I've ever seen on this hole.
Looks like maybe she threw a passion off the tee, got that late stability. And she grabs the only birdie so far here on the back nine. Hole 12 is a dual option par 3. Actually, it's a tri-option par 3. There is that roller play out to the left. Mandatory on the right though, keeping you in left, so there is no fourth wide right-hand option. The path this drone is flying is definitely going to be the path less traveled here for the FPO division. A lot of players taking a flat shot down the right side, looking for some late stability. We might even see some quick flipping rollers, so Paige looks to be lining up that right side.
Paige makes the Mando, but hits a tree on the way there. She'll have to settle for par. JK up second.
early, but gets very fortunate, splits the gap. Gonna have an easy par from there. Would have had some work to do if she didn't get sneaky through the gap.
Mertsch has sort of favored the left side on these gap hits, and she hits a tree halfway down the fairway.
Rebecca looking to redeem the card, but not quite able to get past that last tree chunk before she would have been out in the open. Everyone's got a little bit of scrambling to do.
I saw a really nice woodpecker today on the course, and yesterday a coyote.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I saw a little hummingbird actually in this same kind of area back on the previous hole on hole 11.
Paige Pierce sends her upshot into the green, but kicks a tree, and she'll have a meaty putt for par. Oh no, Cat gets caught up on the way to the basket as well, also a long putt for par.
Juliana weaves it through. Gonna give herself a par there. Cat, alright, looking to throw a jump putt, but doesn't really have the room to follow through with those trees being in the way. Gonna be a lot of upper body on this one.
Good attempt, awkward lie.
I see a wild Terry Miller in the background.
Ooh, Paige off the front of the cage. Oh, she even took some extra time on that one, you know?
Yeah, that nose down putt, just hard to manage from short range the way it wants to get up and down.
JK's putt, it's in. It's for par. It's a little high, but it doesn't really matter if the basket's catching it.
Yeah, she's looked strong from circle's edge, but a little timid on a couple of those tap outs, but been making good on the high side of the chains. Rebecca gonna have to hit the practice green again tonight and freshen herself up for round 3. 6 more holes to go for her to maybe try to figure something out, but always hard to do during the middle of a round.
Hole 12 stole some lunch money. Let's see how hole 13 plays out. 907-foot par 5. Downhill tee shot, out of bounds on the right. If you get your drive to land about here, that would be primo. You can send your second shot, don't miss that Mando, right as the drone is flying, landing about here. That'll give you a nice hyzer chip into the green, hopefully getting a putt for a birdie 4. Juliana takes the low route under the limb that's directly off the tee, hyzering out a bit. And as long as you don't go too far off the tee and too far left, you should have a pretty good second shot. Otherwise, too much of a hyzer, and then you're just pitching sideways to make it through that Mando gap.
I feel like this hole is playing pretty well as a long open par 5 for the FPO field. It's a little underdeveloped, I feel like, the way the MPO is playing it as a par 4 currently, but the way it shapes up for you guys, I find it to be a good challenge. 3 really good, long, accurate shots will net you a birdie, but the par isn't the hardest if you're willing to play it smart.
I'm not sure if Mertsch was trying to throw a turnover or a roller. Either way, her disc stopped a bit short. Rebecca also taking that under the limb route. Pulls it a bit right, but I like that right side. It sets up for a nice angle to get through that gap. Mertsch's second shot.
A kick left here would be devastating, and she avoids it. Skips well up into the gap. And that was probably a bit nerve-wracking for her there.
Juliana Korver's second shot.
Kind of encroached on the card in front, she's saying.
Halo turn. She hits that gap beautifully and lands in the fairway.
Very good looking shot there for JK. Rebecca playing flat on something with some stability.
Oh
Big
my
skip.
gosh. We just don't see those kinds of skips out here normally.
Paige looks like she has slow disc in hand. Going more conservative. She says, okay, a little bit inside. Kicks backwards. That's going to be tricky. She was definitely looking to play that one a little bit wider.
Shout out to Kevin, our Pro Tour photographer, always taking great photos of us out there. This is Paige Pierce's third shot. Still needs to make the Mando. Has a pretty big middle gap to work with. Standstill, hits the gap. It gets caught up on the way to the basket.
Yeah, it's a very difficult shot to try to hit a gap on the power that she really needed to get up and down there.
Ooh, this position on the outside between the trees and the OB line is primo. JK sends a hyzer shot in. Gets lucky off that tree. She'll have a circle putt for birdie.
Yeah, that putt got a lot easier catching that tree trunk. Even 5, 6, 7, 8 feet on that putt make a huge difference. Rebecca sails it, but also gets a nice tree kiss there.
These trees are so majestic.
They really are. They are beautiful, and some of them are nearing probably 200 feet tall.
Oh my gosh, Cat Mertsch nearly skips it in with a hyzer flare.
We've had some highlights on the approaches today. We've had the throw in from Paige, and we've had a bunch of near toss-ins as well. A couple from Cat herself. Ooh, Paige just looked like it was tracking once again if it didn't catch some of those limbs there.
Juliana for birdie. And that was not the same pace we've seen out of her for the previous putts. That one had no go on it whatsoever.
Yeah, she didn't really spin that. She just kind of pushed it with the nose down. And
Rebecca's putting has just taken a trip, a vacation, if you will, on this back nine. Paige, however, smashes that birdie putt here on the 13th. I love to see a birdie on the 13th. Birdie for Cat Mertsch.
she is all smiles as she knows she got a little bit squeaky on that second shot.
JK drop in par and Becca drop in par.
Yeah, the 13th was a tough one to grab. We only saw 7 birdies on the day. So good job, Kat. And 14, this one's a par 4 on the shorter side. You gotta beat this double mandatory tree gap off the tee. If you can clear past these trunks, you're gonna be in A1 position. Coming in, a lot of small windows to choose from. You just gotta make sure you pick the one you want and play a pinpoint approach. This right side is definitely the most open, so if you can somehow work your disc to the right through that gap of trees off the tee, your approach will be the easiest.
Cat Mertsch up first.
I was thinking about how good the roller played for FPO just now, because as long as you get through the mandatories, there's no out of bounds here, and she's getting down into the wood line for a
Oh my
putt.
gosh, Cat Mertsch with a shot probably 490 feet.
I was getting ready to talk about how easy the roller could be to just get out to the right and give yourself an easy approach, but Kat giving herself a legitimate look at eagle here. Well-deserved Flight Factory rollback.
I've got to get on the roller game. I'm missing out.
It's a must, especially the way they're pushing these courses. I think for a hole like this, for you guys, it could be great. There's no out of bounds, like I said, and it's pretty easy to get a roller through those mandatories.
Look how that roller made her feel. I hadn't seen her smile that big in weeks. Juliana with that nice gap hit. Good airspace under the disc, full flight. And from there, if she can hit the gap, she'll have a birdie opportunity.
Paige looks not quite flat enough, I thought, but really good pace there to push through the gap. Paige showing off that power.
I'm just still so impressed with Kat's roller. I'm thinking she could lay it up and get a birdie. Like
easy layup.
I would love to be in a position on a golf course where I could lay it up to get a birdie. You know, the stress would be the eagle putt. I mean, wow. Rebecca Cox with a beautiful upshot right through that middle gap. She'll have a putt for birdie.
As uphill as this one is, obviously, you have that chance for a little bit of rollaway if you do want to run it, but assuming that doesn't happen, it's very runnable with the backstop. Yeah, I think that is kind of the key here. Play up the left side if you're not quite far enough to the right and get a little bit of slide action. Use that slope to bring you back right towards the basket.
Paige opting for a forehand chip over a straight shot or a backhand turnover. She's right outside the bullseye. Here we are, Kat Mertsch for eagle. Oh.
And there's the danger.
And that's what happens when you want it too much.
She said, "I'm going down as a legend, yo." They're not gonna remember if I par this hole, but if I eagle that sucker, let me tell you what, they ain't gonna forget it.
Rebecca Cox able to capitalize on her birdie putt here on the 14th.
I talked to Paige a little bit after the round today, and she said that she feels like she's let 5, 6, 7 fierce approach strokes get away from her this weekend on the backhand. And maybe that kind of led to her forehand decision there. Just simplify the game. She's not feeling it. Just try something different. Let it be natural.
Even after a CTP, Kat Mertsch will walk away with a par here on the 14th.
Well, there's some of the hardest pars to swallow. Everyone's like, "Oh man, it's the best drive I've ever seen on this hole." I'll be like, "Oh yeah, you know, just scored a freaking par."
A par for par.
This is the new
Optimize orbit. Look
at this
very nice thing.
tingling.
Here we are on the 15th, and this is Holly's hole, so I'm going to shut up and let her tell you guys how to play it.
Number 1, get through that gap. Don't hyzer too much left because it's OB. Your second shot, you got to decide how you want to access the green, but bite off as much distance as you can. I like flying where the drone is, sending my second shot right around here. That'll give me a short little pitch up into the green, possibly get a birdie. Double Mando off the tee, JK up first with a nice low straight shot. Perfect gap hit. It's exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah, like I said yesterday, the way you're going to move the disc here, you need something understable coming out of the hand on hyzer, trusting that it will start to flip up. And Paige chopping out a big old branch after a tree hit, but still gets to a place where birdie could be had.
Rebecca's shot a bit higher than the rest of the group, a nice turnover line. It is hyzering back, but it's a perfectly good shot. Oh, Kat doesn't make it out of the gap. She's right at the last tree on the outside. She needs to bite off as much distance as she can here on this second shot. Oh, that looks great.
Wow.
She could still get a birdie from here.
Great recovery from there. And Holly mentioned yesterday you want to get to the left to open up this approach window. Paige putting this one nice and high. Seems like she has that thought in mind.
Rebecca Cox playing to that left side as well. And if you can push the out of bounds stakes on the left side, it's just like a 35, 40 foot putt. And they've actually trimmed the grass, so the tall grass isn't even in the way if you get far enough left.
No one quite able to get to the top of that flat spot there where visibility would make this hole a lot easier. So having to trust the blind shot, which can make this one way harder.
I don't know why.
Kat just gun-ho on trying to score birdie there and get herself under par, but
It was just such an awkward shot shape, you know? And Paige throws her shot too low, hits those tall grass tips, and doesn't make it inbounds. And what an error. After that great tee shot, sneaking through that last set of trees. Whew, JK made me nervous. Hers was a bit low, but you can see the further left you go, the shorter the grass is.
Kat saws off this approach, but luckily she was really close and shouldn't give her trouble. But sometimes feeling the disc come out that off of what you're intending can linger a little bit. Rebecca gave that one a very nice bid.
Juliana with a great birdie here on the 15th.
The fist pump hadn't had a good putt in quite a while, and that one made her feel good, as it should. Cat high into those chains for the bogey.
Paige taking a bogey as well after her upshot went OB in that tall grass. Rebecca taking her time for a short putt here. It's in for the bogue.
A little firm on that pole kind of scared me, but the chains collected her before it could get spit back out. And Juliana picking up 2 strokes on the entire card. Hole 16. This one is going to be the 4th easiest hole on the course. 356 foot par 3, so definitely on the long side. But with this out of bounds patch being pretty close off the tee, it doesn't really come into play unless you miss the gap, which is a pretty generous gap. So this one is pretty easy to birdie if you're not, or sorry, it's pretty easy to par if you're not going to get the birdie, but really good shot shape required to give yourself a circle 1 look.
Got to keep it high because there is that out of bounds grass you got to throw over. And Juliana hyzers out a bit early and left. If you want to access the green, you've got to have an incredible turnover or a bit of a flex shot as a right-handed player. And Paige goes left of the basket and sneaks up at the circle's edge.
Yeah,
if you're a good putter, that's all you need to do. I guess you could throw straight and get to the circle's edge.
Yeah, she gets the distance right and doesn't try to perfect this one, get knocked down by that big branch you see Rebecca hitting. Gives herself an opportunity. Kat looking to access that right side, which, and gives herself a long look on the backside of the green.
JK sends it up to the chips. She'll have a drop in par.
And we do have the ambiance of the children playing at recess in the school in this corner of the course. So, in case you guys are wondering what's going on back there.
Man, what'd you say about this tree being forgiving? Liar.
Paige Pierce taking advantage of that birdie from the circle's edge.
Strong putt there. She's had quite a few bogeys, but she's also scored a lot of birdies today.
Mertsch. Hate to see her waste that birdie op here on the 16th. And Becca with another,
That
I'm
putt
going to
was
say, a bit of a sketchy.
That was like vertical hyzer almost cut
bit of
through.
a sketchy putt here. I don't know. Her short putts.
If that cut through, that would have been her fault, though. She inserted the coin into the coin slot, if you will.
Right, only one birdie to be had here on the 16th for the women's chase card. Hole 17, the women play the longer tee, 511-foot par 4. Step number 1, get out of the gap. As long as you can make it anywhere in this open zone and give yourself an open shot, it should be about 200 to 300 feet into the green. That'll give you an easy birdie look, but you can't send your upshot too long. We have that out of bounds golf green behind the basket. Also, because the green does play uphill, it plays a bit longer than it measures. Got to put a little extra pump on that upshot. Paige Pierce up first. Sends it into the sunshine, hits the gap beautifully.
Yeah, centers up that gap. That's that's about, I'll say it. It's perfect.
And JK pulling hers a bit left and short and gets caught up by that guardian tree, and that's probably going to force her to lay up and play for par. Not a lot of work with under that branch.
Rebecca follows Paige's line, touch more fade on the end, but they are hanging out in the sweet spot.
Oh no, Kat pulls hers a bit left, kicks back right. She might have no, she's going to have to play for par from there.
Yeah, she's really just been left on her release timing all day. Still has some work to do to get up and down for par. It's not an easy green.
As I mentioned, there's just not a lot to work with under this limb. There's space, but you're not really going to get a shot into the green. It's forcing you to lay up to the edge of the OB, play it for par. She'd like to probably get a bit more distance on that, but still, it's just 250, 280 into the green from there.
Katz looks to be a bit nose up and is fading early. A lengthy putt on one of the scariest greens on the course.
Rebecca Cox's second shot. Can she get it close, get herself a birdie? She's up there and she's got a putt.
Juliana throwing a laser. Parks it. Says, I ain't worrying about this green. I'm just going to hit my head on the basket and take my par. Paige bleeds that fierce shot off to the right. Not the putt she was looking for.
No, you'd really like to have no putt on this green. I don't know if Mertsch was laying that up or just didn't aim high enough. Pro tip, you've got to aim higher on uphill putts.
It can be tricky for sure. You spend so much time dialing in your stock putt and then you gotta change it up. Paige just put a lot of stress having a long putt there on a green that you do not want to be putting on.
And this basket just must not be hungry.
And the front side of the slope might look kind of gentle to you guys. You might be like, what are you talking about, Connor? That green is not too scary. But the backside definitely drops off a little steeper. And really, any way you miss it, roll away potential is there. And last time we were here on the MPO side, I know we saw Kev Jones kind of go from having a chance to win to all of a sudden that green just ruining it. So everyone's got a little taste of that in their mouths as they're putting here.
1 bogey and 3 pars.
We step up to the 18th, 1,000+ foot par 5, playing across multiple golf fairways and their clusters of trees that divide them. If you can clear each group of trees, your next shot will be that much easier having the open airspace. If not, the low ceiling will have some effect. Then a couple upward tiers as you get to this green. A birdie, most of these players want to try to finish the round on.
These Mandos are very generous. A lot of space between the double Mandos, and Paige's drive is good. Makes it past the first set of trees. See, any trouble off the tee here would be, missing the Mando, pulling your shot a little too right, or possibly just sawing off your drive and getting caught up on this limb early left, not getting as much distance off the tee as you like. Rebecca Cox with a nice low line drive. Kat Mertsch getting some great distance off the tee as well.
She threw it as she intended, and she gallops on off.
JK's second shot. She makes it through that Mando gap the first set. Nice, low, controlled.
Rebecca trying to find the biggest gap here. No turn, but get some good ground play. Paige look like she has the speed to beat that next line of trees, and she does. That is exactly where you want to be if you're trying to birdie this hole.
Kat Mertsch with the longest drive off the tee.
Another good looking stroke there. She waited till hole 18 to dial it in, but not a bad time.
She makes it past the second set of Mandos right at the drop zone.
Juliana got some weird footing there, having the golf distance marker on the ground. It's like a plastic kind of circle on the ground, and she narrowly avoids disaster. She has a clean round going so far, you guys, and she is playing so well. There's been some ups and downs, but she's had pars as mistakes, and she's really capitalized on some of those birdies.
This is Kat Mertsch's third shot. Wow, all the way in the bullseye.
Jumps up the hill at the end too. Paige going straight at it and just a bit shy there. A little more of a putt than she wants for that birdie. But not a bad wind. Should be kind of off her left shoulder.
JK is so good with her upshots. Caddy approves.
Rebecca making the card believe for a second. Almost rings it up.
Paige Pierce for birdie.
Just low, a little bit of frustration. She was on the verge of a pretty scorching round, just a few errors. Oh no.
And Juliana, after almost no mistakes all day, mistakes as in bogeys, she takes a bogey here on the final hole. Kat Mertsch, however, taking an incredible birdie here on the 18th. Paige Pierce.
Only one of two players. Ella Hansen grabbing the only other birdie here on the 18th. And Juliana fought so hard to stay bogey free. It just hurts your soul to see it happen here on our final hole of play. Especially when she was just outside that bullseye whisker.
What a display of skills from this women's chase card. Let's check out this top 10 leaderboard.
Kristen Tatar shoots a hot 9 down and is leading by 6 strokes. Juliana jumps up to the lead card for tomorrow. Looks like we'll be seeing Paige Pierce, Missy Gannon, and I missed those other 2 names, but I'm sure it'll be some exciting golf as we switch over to the East Course. Players gotta rethink their game plans, haven't practiced here maybe in a couple days, and the action's gonna be amazing. A couple more specific lines over on the East Course. Don't forget to follow myself and Holly on Instagram and YouTube, and to pick up our Tour Series discs because they are flying nice and straight. Glide for days, y'all.
Appreciate you tuning in to this round 2 back 9 coverage. We hope to hang out with y'all tomorrow for that round 3 on the east side.